Hello, and welcome to Integrating Technology to Teach Public Speaking. My name is Chris Mullen, and today I will be walking you through how to use an iPad to teach students in speech class. Although this workshop was developed for a college classroom, it could certainly be adapted for a high school classroom or probably even a middle school classroom. So let's begin to walk through all the ways in which technology can be helpful in teaching public speaking. To begin, I want to tell you a little bit about why public speaking is important and why it's a skill that should be taught not only to college students, but all students. The first is that public speaking is really important for students professionally. Almost everybody at some point in their life will have to go on a job interview, give a presentation in a meeting, or give a sales pitch in a professional setting. It is really important to prepare students to be able to communicate effectively and efficiently in order to succeed professionally. In addition, public speaking is also important on a personal level. It allows students to be able to effectively communicate with friends, family, and strangers. The third reason why public speaking is important is because it allows students to explore ideas that are personal to them, their passions, personal causes. Being able to advocate for a cause that is near and dear to your heart is something that is a skill that can serve many students well, not only through their collegiate career, but also throughout their lifetime. The fourth reason why public speaking is really important is for students' college career. Many college courses require students to give presentations. It's not just the public speaking class. All different forms of majors and disciplines require students to use their skills throughout their college career. And finally, the last reason why public speaking is important is that it helps develop critical thinking and listening skills. So a lot of times the main thing that people think about with critical thinking is English class or reading. But learning to construct a speech helps students prioritize information and think really critically about communication. So it can only benefit them moving forward in all areas of life. So, how do we integrate technology to teach specific skills in a public speaking course? So the following skills can be taught by integrating technology. The first is managing anxiety and stage fright. The second is verbal delivery. Third is nonverbal delivery. Fourth is audience analysis. Fifth is creating visual aids. And sixth is using a teleprompter. I'm going to speak about these 6 skills individually and how you might incorporate technology into teaching them. So the first is managing anxiety. And presentation anxiety is defined as a speaker's individual level of fear or anxiety associated with either real or anticipated communication to a group of people or an audience. One poll suggests that up to 75% of people prefer death over speaking in public. So they would actually rather be in the coffin than giving a eulogy at the funeral, which is kind of amazing. But speaking anxiety is something that needs to be talked about, and it can be managed effectively by preparing and practicing, modifying thoughts and attitudes, but also by using meditation and breathing techniques. And there are many apps available on an iPad that can allow students to manage their anxiety effectively. One such app is Breathe to Relax, which actually teaches students how to slow down their breath and breathe specifically from their diaphragm. Another one that students could download is called Calm or Headspace, and both of these apps walk you through specific breathing techniques that allow you to calm your mind and begin to get into a space where you feel less stress. You can use these activities either individually, so students can download them and listen to them through their headphones before they go up to speak, or you can do it as a class exercise to help the class relax before starting any kind of activity in class. The most important thing is to make sure that students know that anxiety in public speaking is really very real, and they are not alone. As I said, up to 90% of people feel some sort of anxiety when they speak in a large group. So the next skill that could be used, that can be taught through an iPad, is verbal and nonverbal delivery. There are several ways to do this. First, the camera and recorder that is built into the iPad allows students to listen and evaluate their voice. You could also use apps such as the voice recorder that will allow students to record just their voice and allow them to manipulate and manage their rate, pitch, and overall vocal variety. Verbal delivery is really important in giving a speech, and there are 5 elements of it: volume, rate, pitch, pauses, and vocal variety. Essentially, students want to learn how to master these 5 skills, and using the recorder to listen to themselves can help them understand where their strengths and where their weaknesses lie. The iPad can also be used for nonverbal delivery because the body in delivery is really important to speech making. It helps clarify verbal messages, it helps build rapport with the audience, and it can definitely enhance a speech. Things like hand gestures and facial expressions can also enhance the words that are coming out of a student's mouth. So, the camera can again be used for students to evaluate the movements that they make while they are speaking. And then games such as things like Heads Up or Charades will allow students to get used to using gestures, facial expressions, and movement to get people to understand the meaning behind what they say. So the third way that an iPad can be used is through audience analysis. The best speeches take an audience-centered approach and include an awareness of attitudes, beliefs, and values. Speakers can conduct audience analysis by looking at demographic information for their audience, creating surveys, and conducting interviews. The iPad with apps such as Socrative will allow students to construct these surveys and poll the audience in real time to find out prior knowledge, values, beliefs, and interests. This will allow students to construct speeches that are tailor-made for the audience in front of them, and research shows that these are always the most effective speeches. The fourth way in which you can integrate technology into a speech class is through creating exciting visual aids, and this also can be done through applications. So the purpose of a presentation aid in a speech is to reinforce key points and support main ideas, to summarize thoughts, and to list complex points into key phrases. But most importantly, visual aids should enhance the speech in some way. Apps such as Canva, Pixlr, Prezi, Piktochart, even Google Slides that can be created right on the iPad will allow students to create exciting visuals that can help support them as they begin speaking and help the audience connect more to exactly what it is they're saying. The fifth way that students can use technology within the speech classroom is by using a teleprompter. Through the Teleprompter Lite app, students can turn their iPad into a teleprompter, just like the stars use when they are at an award show or the newscasters use. This allows students to set the time for how they want their speech to go. They can go a little bit slower, and the words actually won't come up on the screen until they are ready to speak. This can really help with rate, and it's also pretty cool. Students have a fun time with using this device in the classroom, and it can be really beneficial and a bonding experience for the entire class. Finally, when using the iPad, it can be a really great tool for reflection and also peer review. In the past, when I have used an iPad in speech class, students have recorded every speech that they gave, every graded speech that is, and then they're required to watch it back and then write a reflection of what they see. They are only allowed to comment on what they see, not what others have said about it. But it's a very powerful tool to be able to evaluate yourself. Many students find it uncomfortable at first, but afterward, most of them tell me that it was the single most effective way to make them a better speaker because they can actually see themselves being too low in volume or rushing too fast, and it allowed them to change the behavior. Also, it can be used as a form of feedback in class. So while other students are speaking, the rest of this class can have a simple Google form on their iPads and comment on what the student is doing. So I use a simple Google form which asks the students to write 2 things that the speaker did well and 2 things that they could work on for next time. This feedback is then recorded in a spreadsheet, and I send that spreadsheet directly to the student. So after their speech, they get 3 forms of evaluation. They get what I say about their speech, what their classmates have said about the speech, and then they get to see themselves performing the speech. All of this feedback usually says around the same thing, so it reinforces the points and allows students to really feel more prepared the next time they are about to give a speech. So, I hope that this presentation was helpful for you. Thank you for participating, and if you have any questions, I can be reached at mullen@arcadia.edu. Thank you.